Hey everybody, welcome back. We are watching Chernobyl. We are on episode 2. The first episode basically, for the most part, started at the aftermath of what happened and the unstraightforwardness that was told and how quickly people started being affected. I think that sums it up for the most part on where we're at with things, or at least what I got out of it. She had big eyes there for a minute. So let's watch episode 2 and see where we go from here as far as what's going to happen. There's Russian. And I will acknowledge that there was Russian on the terminal when they were calling in for what they experienced. I'm guessing it's their version of 911. I guess iodine pills do help with radiation. And now they've got it all over them. This is the guy from the very beginning, right?
Reports no more than 3.6 Röntgen. I'm told it's the equivalent of a chest X-ray. So if you're overdue for a checkup, and foreign press, totally unaware.
Is that supposed to be Gorbachev? Was he around during that time? He's the only one I know with the wine stain birthmark.
I don't know. Engaging in conjecture, in direct contradiction to what has been reported by party officials.
I apologize.
You asked him onto the committee because he was an expert in the field. So even though he knows he's exposed, the question is he going to suit up? Looked like the blades were cupped up. I don't know if that's something that actually happens. As far as I know, blades are solid and not curved. God.
When we have a disease to cure, where are they? In a lab, noses in their books, and so grandma dies. But when there isn't a problem, they're everywhere, spreading fear.
I know about Chernobyl.
Oh?
I know that the core is at the
Gosh, this is so eerie to watch right now. Who do we know that doesn't like scientists? So now we know how the pills are helpful.
Have a list of individuals who we believe are accountable.
Because you got to blame somebody. Maybe the...
Professor Lagasov, I understand you've been...
So you can see some of the stuff I focus on. The helicopter blades in that one seem to angle down. So I wonder if the cupping that I was seeing is because the blades pivot on the center. And so when they were rotating in an act. My mic died at this point, but I am going to add my footage from the beginning of the next episode. Hey everybody, welcome back. I am getting so frustrated. I can't hear myself like usual. Okay, now things sound right. I hate these headphones. Hate them, hate them, hate them. If anybody's got a suggestion for a good brand, I paid a lot of money for these. They're supposed to be a good brand, but ones that won't cut off, ones that stay connected, I'd be grateful. So, I don't know when my sound cut off. My sound cut off on the last episode because you can hear me at the beginning, you can't hear me at the end. So I'm going to have to try to remember what my comments were as I'm editing. Luckily, this series I'm not going to wait too long on, so hopefully I won't forget too much. But basically, to sum things up, a little bit more of the truth gets out. The world now knows about the explosion. Sweden is testing for the radiation, so we know it's traveled as far as Sweden. The scientist is not divulging all of the information, and I'm not sure if it's because he feels he's not allowed to because of the general or whatever he is, major. I don't know what the equivalent is um, over in the USSR. And this was during the time of the USSR. I believe that is Gorbachev. I haven't heard them say his name, but Gorbachev is the only one I know with a wine stain on his forehead. So I'm thinking that's who that is supposed to be. I still haven't caught on to any of the names, and I'm not sure why it is that I can't remember any of the names. They don't say them very often, so that might be why. I talked about how devastating it must be to have to quickly grab whatever you can and can carry and take with you. I have a hard enough time just going on trips and trips, whether I want to go on usually even the conferences, usually there's something I want to get out of the conference. Usually there's a benefit of some sort for me going on the trip, and even then I still have problems sleeping and my body pitches a fit and all that kind of stuff. So I can't even imagine what the people must have been going through to go into uncertainty, because at this point I don't think they understand that they'll probably never be able to go back home. And if I remember correctly, because I think Chernobyl is one of the destinations on the show The Dark Tourist. I remember them bringing it up. I think that was one of the places where he tried to cross the border. I think that's the one where he tried to go into the ocean and then swim over to the area that way, of whatever area was closed off. I'll have to look up Kiev on a map, because why don't I just go ahead and do that? So let me make sure I'm still recording because I hit buttons. So Kiev is on a large river, the Dnieper River, and so it must have been on that beach that he went out onto into the river and was trying to cross the border into Kiev. What shows up if I go further out? Oh, they're keeping it in Russian, so I can't see the English versions of the word festive. Actually, I lied. They are showing the English translation, but it's also like they're spelling Kyiv, Kyiv, and I'm used to Keiv. So the other spellings may be towns that I have heard of, but I don't know because they're spelling it the way it should be spelled. And Kiev is in Ukraine, what is now Ukraine. They brought up Belarus in the last episode. Romania is over here. I have a lot of, I've been doing my genealogy, and I have several relatives from Romania. I found some new family. Is the new family from Lithuania? Might be Lithuania. I think I have one relative that's from Belarus. My heritage is all through this area. There's Moscow on the map, pretty far away. Where's my little, I don't see the little thing that tells me how far stuff is. Letterbox is busy this morning. So on the map, and this is today's map, this is not from 1986, and if Russia's anything like the US, roads have changed. All of the routes are toll routes and cross-country borders, and it has the little warning about checking the country's COVID-19 restrictions before going. The quickest route is, and actually it looks like the toll is at the very beginning of the trip, but the quickest route, it's not quite direct. It juts out a little bit, but the shortest route is 860 kilometers, and it's almost an 11-hour drive, and that's at today's standards. So if you can imagine, back in 1986.